as talent-wise. I think they're very well coached. We know it's going to be a tough game. Anytime you go to Laramie, it's always a hard-fought game. So, but like always, we got to continue to get a little bit better. We're closer. We just need to finish some games and finish plays late. And if we can do that, we can have a chance to get this thing going. So let's go with some questions.
Coach Jason Walker with Cash Valley Daily. Just want to ask about what the message is to the team like at this point, trying to wrangle them together, get them playing, 5 more games, even though you guys have a 1-6 record at this point.
Yeah, Jason, the big thing is what mindset do we want? And this has nothing to do with football, but more so to do with life. We just talked about you can tap out, you can take the easy way and quit and lay down and wait for next season or what to come, or you could persevere, get closer together, outwork people, find a way to continue to make it through, right? Life ain't easy, and we know that, and there's always ups and downs, and it preys on the people who give up and quit, and that's not who we're going to be. So that was our message yesterday. Now we got to keep having it when we wake up every single morning, that mentality to get where we need to be.
Coach Dreiling, Jason Turner from the Herald Journal. This is a joint question with Trent Wood. He texted me to ask you this, but I'm curious too. So it's kind of a two-part. Any other season-ending injuries besides Miguel, Taz, Clyde, and Robert? And also, how are Jalen, Avante coming along? Bo Miley, I didn't notice him on Saturday. And like Gabe Peterson and Noka, how are they coming along?
Yeah, so Anoka's out for the season. Gabe Peterson is going to be out again this week. We're still waiting, hopefully next week or the following. Besides that, Jalen, got banged up a little bit, so can't really determine yet if he's going to be full speed or not for Saturday. Expecting him to play, but not 100% certain yet on that. Clyde Washington, like you said, is out for the season with an ACL. John Ross May has a hurt arm that he's going to require surgery, but he's extremely tough and he's going to hold out and have surgery once the season is over with. So Avante is questionable for this weekend. It's just so early. We don't know on all those guys yet. So like everybody, pretty banged up right now. We feel like we have a good share of injuries, but it's got to be the next man up, like we talk about, right? Get everyone else ready to roll. And no matter who you get out there, you need to have results. So that's going to be the challenge this week of getting everyone ready.
Coach Jason Walker again. That kind of leads into another question I had about what have you thought about the guys who have stepped in to fill in for a lot of these injured guys? What have you thought of their performances so far?
Yeah, it's been good. Obviously record-wise, it's not what we want to be. We understand that. But if you really dive into the tape and look at it, like our defensive tackle, Ricky, to start fall camp, he was on scout team for the first 6 weeks. And now he ended up playing 15 plays last week and played just about better than any of our defensive linemen. So guys like that who have waited, worked, continue to stay resilient because you just don't know when your time is being called. And he's really shined. So as long as we can continue to have that next wave, I know we're running out of bodies, but you never know whose name's going to be called. Kind of like, just like our offense, Jalen and Razul are going to do great things, but who's going to be that third breakout guy a game? It's the same thing on defense, kind of where we're at up front is who can continue to progress, and when their time comes, make the plays.
I wanted to ask kind of something you talked about after the New Mexico game was the third downs on defense. I was wondering if you can elaborate, like if there was any common thread with, the number of third downs that the Lobos were able to convert.
Well, yeah, they were 10 or 15. We started very hot on third down defensively, and then they went to their QB power game with the RPO glance off of that, and I think hats off to number 4. He's, I think, one of the best players maybe in the country with trying to tackle him and get him down. He's so elusive and throws the ball with great timing. So that's what it came down to. We couldn't finish on him, and then even you saw like the 4th and 6th play where they throw up basically a punt at the end, and their guy finishes and make it. But we need to find a way to get off the field a little bit more. Unfortunately, we just didn't have those answers on Saturday.
Hey, Coach Eric Franson with 106.9 The Fan. Can you comment on just the challenge sometimes of coaching a team trying to when you have a lead and trying to maintain that lead, not give it up?
Yeah, the big thing we talk about is when we play angry and we play with a rage that we're right on the line of borderline chaos is where we want to live. We want to be right up against it, but still under control, right? we have to make sure that we don't get complacent, and no lead is big enough. I mean, we've had 14, 17-point leads. We've given up a couple times now, and it does come down to continue to execute. That was our word of the week last week, and we come off hot and looking great, and then we just have a snowball effect. We muff a punt, right? They get this, then they get that, and we just can't finish games yet. And so whether that's not handling adversity good enough or not, but we just got to keep trying to get a little bit better, keep trying to find a way. This team's way better than our record, but now it is time we got to start getting some victories.
Coach Dreiling, Jason Turner again. 5 holding penalties against New Mexico. Were a lot of those? I don't know if you've seen them all. Were a lot of those egregious in your mind, or do you just feel the officiating crew was calling it really tight, or maybe a little bit of both?
Oh, a little bit of both. It's hard to comment on that. We do need to make sure, right, whether the holding penalties are on us or on them. One, defensively, we have to block the struck. We have to use our hands to get off blocks. And then offensively, we have to continue to move our feet. I think we're doing a good job of moving people up front. But you see where our offense stalls on drives, and it's typically self-inflicted wound, right? It's usually holding penalties or some type of false start to get off pace with the stick. So if we can eliminate that, the hard part is you're playing tempo to take advantage of fatigue for the defense, but that does also fatigue you a little bit. So got to make sure we persevere through that and to finish drives with touchdowns instead of kicks.
Coach Jason Walker again. Just looking ahead to Wyoming, what aspects of their team, offensively or defensively, do you guys need to be preparing for the most to make sure you stop that?
Well, they're extremely physical with Wyoming's defense. I know they're well coached. You look at their record and you would assume they're not very good, but that's not the case at all. Like I said, they've played some tough games and they're flying around to the ball. They play sound defense, and they're in a lot of these games. They just hadn't been able to finish. And offensively, they got their big quarterback, big tailback, solid group of wide receivers, and an O-line group who plays very well together. So they're very sound, I would say, all the way around. You could tell they have phenomenal teachers in that building coaching those guys up. So they're not going to hand you anything. They're going to make you try to win the game. Now it's going to come down to which one of these two teams wants to finish this week.
Hey, Coach Patrick Mayhorn from the Ag Ship. Wyoming recently has been kind of bouncing back and forth between 2 quarterback options. What have you seen from those 2 guys? What kind of separates their skill sets, and how do you prepare for both of them essentially?
Yeah, the offense is similar no matter who's in. They do a little bit more QB run game with 17, the big guy back there. But both of them, it's a vertical shot passing game. They want to try to get some type of cross country routes coming from across the field to slide in between zones. And then the run game is your typical outside zone. They do a good job designing QB run game for when the big guy is in there. So it's the same defensive plan for us, but ultimately we have to make sure, kind of like last week, we have to make sure that we're pressuring this quarterback, but we do need to finish better when we get back there.
So it's Dreiling, Jason Turner again. Yeah, I mean, their quarterback, they're using 2, but the guy who started most of the games, 245 pounds. Their lead back is 230. Wyoming's always been able to run the ball. It's been a staple of theirs, but they've struggled this season. What have you seen on film or in TV that is maybe why do you feel they're struggling in that aspect? It's always a staple for them.
Yeah, their starting tailback got hurt in fall camp, so their big guy they got back there was the number 2 going in, but I do think that their starter's going to be back maybe this week, so we're preparing for the guy that started the last 2 seasons for him, but why they've been struggling, I don't know. You look at them and the offensive line, they move well together. They handle movement well together. It's just that it's kind of like us on defense. They're just trying to find some confidence, trying to find their identity, what they want to do, and what they want to become. So right now we're both searching. So hopefully we can find ours first though.
Hey, Coach Eric Franson again. It seems like second halves are a bit of a challenge. Just maintaining that juice and that intensity with your team. What is that? More of a player issue? Is it fall on coaches to try to maintain that, or is it a balance of both?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll gladly take the blame on that. I got to make sure that we finish. Right now we come out in such great spurts. but then the flash is gone. And I've talked about this before, and I know you guys are tired of me hearing about this, but we do need to have that killer mentality, right? We have to be able to finish drives, finish games, right? And that starts with finishing plays. And right now, the games come down to 3 or 4 plays, right? It was the quarterback sneak on 4th and 1. It was a 4th and 6 throw up ball that we had a chance to knock down. So if we can just finalize those plays, we're going to be right where we want to be. The problem is in the game of football, you don't know when the 4 or 5 game plays are going to come that decide the game. So you have to be on point on every single one. So it needs to be mental focus constantly. I told our guys this week that we're going to prepare harder as a coaching staff and a player than they ever have to make sure that we do not lose focus if that's what it is during the game because it is all about finishing.